Alright guys, second part of the video, we established our front view, top view, right view. And in this process as well, we're gonna move into doing our 3D drawing, which is this one right here. Alright, so don't get so combobulated with this thing because all you're really gonna have to do is figure out where we're gonna start our point, which you already established already. It's right here in front. Right there in front. 90, 180. Alright, in this grid, we're going to use this grid as our guide for the most part. And then we're going to branch off this grid. Again, our scale is 1/4 inch equals 6 inches. It makes it a little easier to track dealing with this. You can train this anything. You can make this anything if you want to. All right. In this particular one, I want you to go over to your right. Count over 3 boxes. All right. And we're going to establish our 90-degree angle. A 180, 90-degree angle off that. Let me see, should we do that off that one? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, come up here. Angle up, 1 tick mark on a 1/4 inch scale. You should be get right here. So 1, 2, 3, come up, a tick mark right there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna start with our, again, this right here is what we're gonna put out. We're gonna start making this 30-degree angle before we get into all of this craziness. All right, so came over 1, 2, 3, went up 1, and I make sure I got 5 this way, and I also have 5 this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you're gonna go up 1.5 inches, then you go up 1.5 inches. Right, so now we're establishing, first thing I told you, establish the 180, 90, and then you get your degrees off that. That way you know you're working on a 30-degree angle and not a 180 oblique or any other sort of angle like that. Once we establish that, we're good. That's why I had you do this to know what angle you're working off of, which is a 30. We just put that in there. Let's write that in there. 30 degrees. So you just tell yourself this is a 30 degrees. That way you know what you're working off of. 30 degrees. That's what you're doing here. You're just literally using your grid to guide you throughout the whole entire steps. All right. So either or, you can use a ruler because your grid might be off a little bit, but this is again a good standard to go ahead and practice working on your grid. All right. So that's 1/4. So that's every 6 inches, right? So we know 1, 2. We know 5 tick marks is going to be our 2.5 marks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we go up 3 tick marks, 1.5 inches. So that's 1, 2, 3. Again, you can use your ruler to help you out because it might be off a little bit. And this is critical. So that's 1, 2, and 3 right here, tick mark. Let me see if I can zoom in if that helps a little bit. Maybe it's too close. All right, try to stay within that window. Again, 5 going to your right, your left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check it with your ruler. 1 tick mark, 2 tick mark, 3 tick mark, 4 tick mark, 5. Right? Then you go up 3 off that tick mark. Trying to stay in that camera as close as possible. Let me zoom out as you get the concept. Off my 180, making my 90 again. I'm going up 1, 2, and 3 just to make sure. And then from these 2 points, I have just now created my 30-degree angles, just like I did here. Using the method we always say, it don't matter if you scale down, you keep the same ratio going. 5 tick marks, 5 tick marks, you create that 30-degree angle. All right. We're gonna put a lot into this. Actually, we're gonna start putting. We're gonna put a lot in. We're gonna put the actual numbers too. Like we're gonna put the degrees, angles. So we're not gonna be finished with this. It might be a 5-point video because I really want to put all information in here to show you how detailed you can do in this particular diagram to do all of everything else. So it's gonna be like a 5-point video, so you can actually see everything within this ratio here. It's not like the other one we did. We did it just that and that. This takes a little more, and that'll help you jog your memory quicker when you have to you just drive again. All right, so with that done, make sure you literally Take the time out to go through the origins. Light lines on this as well, because we will do a lot of racing in this point. Create that 30-degree angle. And then same thing over here. Turn the paper, you need to turn it. I mean, get it to where you can see it. It's you doing this. Again, shooting through that angle. All right. And do check yourself in regards to the angle. All right, guys, back into it, man. So we already figured out again that you need to come over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 1, 2, 3, over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 1, 2, 3. All right. And at this point, you want to come over 1, 2, 3, just to recap on this real quick, and then come up 1 from here. So come over 3, look at your bigger box to come into your smaller box. So go over 1, 2, 3, then go up 1, right? And then from there, you want to go 2.5, inch and a half. So that's 5 tick marks this way and 3 tick marks up. I realize I didn't tell you this, but you also got to come up here and set this benchmark, because this is your new benchmark now. So to make that center benchmark up here. Now this is your benchmark too, so you might want to put a dot up here as well, top. Put a dot up here as top, and a dot. Take this dot right here and bring it up top as well, just to establish that you now working off these. These are your center marks. Your center, you can use this as gauges back in to back you up in a future when you might need to pull off those. So let's just bring this up. Just random. Let's bring it on up here. The center, right here, and over here as well. And occasionally you might want to check those benchmarks. And again, this is just to keep you in line that you, how we are doing these drawings is off benchmarks. We created benchmarks. That's how we get straight lines and do what we're going to do. All right, so given that we know this is like a cutout box, let's start what we know. We drawing on this grid here. Starting on this grid here. And I want to start my front view, because this is probably the easiest one to do, is the front view. So I know, and I want to use, let's just do this. I want to come off this thing 5.5. So I know that I'm on a straight edge. I'm on a straight line on this thing here. So I'm gonna come over here, 5. I'm gonna measure 5.5, which again, every tick mark, every 1/4 inch mark is 5 inches. I mean, 6 inches. In this case, I'm at an angle, so it's best to use your ruler. So, get right into that. Line up on an angle, count. 1, that's 6, 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, and 5. That's my tick mark right there. All right, and I know I can gotta be 2.5 from here. This mark gotta be from 2.5. Let's see if we got that 2.5 mark. That's 2'6", because overall is 5. That's 1, 6, 1. So we gotta tweak this. Gotta come back here. 2.5. It's 1 foot, 2 foot, 2.5 right here. And you might want to check that. It's good to check yourself. On this one, it's really good to check. It might be a 16th loose thrown, but usually right there, right again. It's 1, 2.5. So that's your key. That's a key measurement right there. That one's a 2.5 mark right there. Right. All right. So we got the 2.5. This right here. All right. 2.5, and this is from here is 2.5. We got that. Now let's come over to our right side and establish our 1.5 inches, right? So we're gonna do this. We're gonna do 1.5 inches because our right view from this thing here off this is on a 90, on a 30. It's a 30 now. It's saying it's gonna be 1.5 inches. So we'll come over here 1.5 inches on our line. Measure 1.5 inches on your line. So that's inch, a 6, that's 1 foot, 6. All right, 1 foot 6. Now you got 1 foot 6. We know our overall is 1 foot 6, and we need to come back 3/4, which is, let me see that. Let's do this 1 foot 6. You're looking at this 6, 3/4 of that. That's right there. Check it. That's 1 inch and 3/8. Let me see, that's 3/8. 3/8. So 3/8. And then you look over here. Kind of off a little bit. Three-eighths to here. That's your 3/4 mark right here. These two. It's gonna be 3/4 marks. Yep, 3/8. All right, so let's fall back just a little bit. Yo, guys, I want you to do this. Let's go ahead and establish, I kind of jumped up the gun again, but let's go ahead and establish our 2.5 box all the way around. So we know we already came 30 degrees this way, came 30 degrees this way. I want you to pump up this line here, up 2.5, just to get us a box going, so we get our reference lines off. When we get our reference lines together, once we establish our reference box, now we can start pulling off our bottom measurements onto our top box, so we can start doing our benchmarks. All right, so we got the 2.5 already, you got the 3/4 already. We might be changing this a little bit to tweak it to make sure it matches up to our top box. So what you want to do is, again, establish your outside box. So once you get your 80, 180, get your 90, you get your 30, you know how wide your box, how wide your box is going to be, and then you know how tall your box is going to be. Then you create that box, and then you start dissecting that box out to actually start getting the diagram you need. That's the key point right now. All right, so I kind of jumped the gun a little bit, but again, it's the same concept. As long as you got to know, you got to fall back. So let's go up 2.5 to get this box. So go up 2.5. You can use your grid or you can use your ruler to do such. So again, every 1/4 inch is 6 inches. That's 1, 2.5. And again, you're doing it off the 90-degree angle. So that's 2.5 here. Let's see where 2.5 marks over here. Kind of want to go in the back over here and go 2.5 over here. What I'll do. So that's 1, 2, 2.5. Let's get that 2.5 mark. So this is from here. We just want to come off 2.5 off our benchmarks. Our 30. This is our. Make sure we got our 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So these benchmarks right here. You want to come up 2.5 off your benchmark, original benchmarks. 2.5 benchmark, 2.5. Up here it'd be 2.5. So kind of give you an idea where you're standing at. So if your benchmarks go up 2.5. 1, 2, 2.5. Benchmark again. Come up 2.5. So 6. I mean it's 1, 2.5. This is going to help you establish your boxes, right? So again, just to retract, we established our 30, right, by these marks, right? We did 1.5 inch, 1.5 inch, 1.5 inch, 1.5. Now from these points, I want you to go 2.5 up, 2.5 up, 2.5 up. This is so we can get our box dimension going. And this is going to be able to separate everything else. Now we can get really into it. So check your numbers again. 1, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. Yep, there you go. All right. Now, take your straight edge, connect those lines, lightly do it. Because again, you can do a lot of erasing pretty soon. Just to mark out your boxes. Well, we know our boxes already out here. It's like there are 5 out here though, so just draw that line long. So you can help catch the other box. This is why you draw your line, come out to this box here and come out this way long. Because it's going to help you catch this in the back. And this is your benchmark. So make your benchmark a light benchmark going up. All right. So again, this is a marker. And we're gonna erase some of this really soon, real quick. And we run this line back here long. So let's we don't want to erase too much. That's not yet. We can't really erase because we don't need it. We're gonna need some of these grids. All right, so we know we got 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. We can connect these boxes here. That's your 2.5 right there. Run your lines kind of long. Run your line kind of long. This is establishing the box. You run them long so you can pick it up. You can start picking up measurements off this. All right, so you can kind of see where we're standing right now. We just matched our lines, our 30-degree angle. We matched it up top now. Now we can get busy. Now we can do everything we've been doing on our original drawings, right? How we know we can do the 1.5 inch, 2.5 this way, 2.5 back to catch our back line. We can establish that now by doing that. Oh, we don't do that. We actually want to start from, let's just do this. So, all right, from this point, go ahead and establish the same thing you did in the bottom. Now do your benchmarks up top here. Same thing on the bottom, right? Match it up here now. So now you can transfer lines both ways. Because we established this 2.5 benchmark, 2.5 benchmark, 2.5 benchmark right here. And we draw lines long at that 30-degree angle. So now we can establish every line we did at the bottom. We can establish up here now on this line and over on this line as well. All right, so do the same you did down here. Establish your 2.5, establish your 2.5 off the origin. So that's 1, 2.5. Make sure I'm doing that right. 6. That's 1 foot. It's 2 foot. 2.5. It's a 1/4 inch mark. Right there. That's gonna connect to this one. And again, from here, you're just gonna go back to your 5. Again, it's your new 0. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is back here. All based on that one movement. Now, you can either stop and do these, connect those lines, or you come over here and do that 1.5 inch this way. Since you're already there. Just complete steps. That's what I say. We started from this point. We're going both ways, 1 point. So that's 6. That's 1 foot. Another quarter mark. 1 foot 6, which is 1.5 inch written on the diagram. Now connect those lines again. You want to go right through the origin with these lines. At this point, you might want to sharpen your pencil. Just so you can get a nice sharp pencil lead on there, edge. And again, adjust your benchmark, your straight edge, a 1/16 off, because your lead is 1/8 of an inch, and you want to split that line. Let me zoom in on this, kind of give you a better idea. So I'm really cutting into this grid as clean as possible. And again, how are we doing this? Is because we created benchmarks. Once you create the benchmarks, then you start pulling your numbers again. You duplicated your numbers perpendicular to the actual one you did. Draw a light line down on each one of them. Each benchmark. Key thing is, before you get too heavy in it, you gotta make sure you correct those benchmarks and check them. All right, now we're gonna bring this in right here. Same last one. All right, so we kind of almost seeing it right now. We almost got it. So let's go ahead and do this. We know this front view is right here. Kind of visualize this now. Again, we got faith. We started with faith. Now we finna see what believe. Now we finna visualize it. We finna establish this front view right now. How? Because we just did it right now. You can kind of see this is your front view. Looking at this, looking at this. This is your front view. That's that box right there. This is your second front view right here. You already made up your 3/4 right here, right? 3/8, 3/8. Now you finna do 3/8 up top, 3/8 over here, and you finna make this corner piece here. You should make this corner piece here. You already have it established almost. You gotta start. You can see it almost. You gotta like, you can. Because how we do that? Because we established our benchmarks. So now I'm gonna do the same measurement up here, connect these two lines. And at this point, we're gonna erase some of this stuff in between, because now we can be able to see it better. We don't put too many lines in here, then you can't see what we're doing. But at this point, that's why I left a couple lines in there, so you can see what's going on. So let's go ahead and make that same measurement up top. Off that benchmark. Split that number. Take your time, let your eyes adjust. And this is this right here, connect those two. That's why I say, when you watch these videos, man, you can't just speed through it. I talk pretty fast, I know, but you gotta sit there and turn on the capture button and play it for yourself backwards, slow. All right, so let's go ahead and erase some of this. So if we gotta adjust our lines, we could do such. So erase in the center box, so we can start seeing our box a little better. Take the time out to erase. Just in between the 2.5 marks. We're gonna leave some grid in there. Just in between. So you can start seeing what you're doing. You replace that, if you erased your benchmark, put it back in there. So I say draw light grids. You don't draw too heavy, because this is when you have to erase some stuff. Go ahead and erase again this box in here. All the grid inside there. Keep your benchmark. You already established this already. You can get rid of the other benchmark line right here because you'll have it up here already and down here. This is when you do some maintenance. If you're on a project and you got the laborers come in, like, yo, you got 2 jobs right now, guys, let's focus on that, and tell them, yo, these benchmarks that I've created, do not erase those. If that happens, let me know, and then you'll go back and check it anyway, because you never want to assume anything. Not that you don't trust them, you just don't assume. All right, so this is our benchmark for this actual one we need, and this is the second one in the back. This is how we was created to create it, and you want to put those back in there. Just to help yourself darken that up. All right, and then again, this line goes all the way back this way. Again, if you off a little bit, that matters. At this point, it's critical. Again, you're skilled labor right now. This is not something you separate yourself from everyone else. You're a tradesman, tradeswoman. Take pride in your work. All right. Now you can see the front view. You can see the front view. You can almost see the right view, right? But you gotta erase this, and you gotta erase this. So it's okay if you erase it, but put those lines back in there. How will you do that? Because you have the benchmarks already there. So erase all in between there. You can erase all of that, but leave those benchmarks in there. You'll get it back. This is why I say you draw the benchmarks far off. That's why they put benchmarks in job sites far off. Because they know that the demolition comes or the bulldozer comes and he hit the benchmark off. Like, wow, we don't have it anymore. Yeah, you do. You put it way out here where the truck would never be at. And just pull that measurement from back here and bring it back in. That's why I put flags out there. And they cure it with concrete sometimes. Concrete sealer. Now the cool part, we almost done. All right, then you put that center one back in. That's a key one as well. All right, darken it up a little bit. But again, you're gonna do some erasing, so don't do too dark. Just a hair more. All right, so we just established our front view. We just established our right view by starting at that origin. Again, we created this. This is why I say it's so critical to get in here right away and go do your 180, your 90, set up your benchmarks where you got to be, which is we did a 4, 2.5 this way, 1.5 inches up. To get that main one right here, we got that main from doing that. This is where we got. We're gonna do this all with markers pretty soon anyway. And we got this one. And then we know our box. We gotta establish our box from there. So we went 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. Now we got our boxes already made. So you have already your front view and your right view based on these dimensions and this diagram you created. Now we finna establish this. Well, how we gonna establish that is by using this. Again, it falls over to this. At that 30-degree angle. All right, let me zoom in right quick, see if I help you with that. Not kind of too close, but that's all right. And again, our scale, quarter equals 6 inches. So this is your right. This is your front, which is again, this right here. Front, right. That's how you know you're correct or not. By using these simple concepts and letting your eye see the actual design. You gotta have faith. Then you gotta have vision. Faith, belief, and then vision. This is visualizing that. You know you can do it. You just gotta figure out how to do it. And that's how it all comes together, right? So we almost there. So give you guys some time to reflect on this one, and I'll see you in the next video.